Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. I have a sudden and somewhat urgent need for a shooting board that will help me clean up 45-degree miters on the short edge of a pretty wide board. I did a video on this shooting board that I did some time ago and looked around my workshop to see what I had for materials, and I found this assembly, which I think was originally going to be this shooting board. I don't know why I abandoned it, but I think I'm going to use that as a candidate for the new one. I like my shooting boards to be able to handle the number 5 planes, so they have to be long enough to be able to support a good amount of the sole. I found this piece of red oak that I think will make a good 45-degree backer for the plane, so it'll sit something like this. Imagine this is cut at 45 degrees. So the thickness of this one back here will pretty much support most of the cheek of the plane. And I'll have this piece of white oak that I think I'm going to use as the back fence. I'm not going to do a double fence like I did on this one. I'm just going to glue the fence on, and if I don't get it square, I'll have to deal with it then. And to fill in this little ridge here, I need to put in a little piece of a 45-degree board. You can picture something like this will sit here. Of course, it's got to be smaller. And I think I'll be able to cut that from this piece of mahogany here. So hopefully with just a little work on the table saw, I'll be able to get all these parts milled up and assembled, and we can move on. I wasn't happy with the first little triangle piece I cut, so I'm going to try to cut another one in a different manner. Hopefully I'll get it a little more accurate. I had to freehand this back edge on the table saw, so it was kind of chowdered up, and I just wanted to smooth it out a little bit with the number 5 plane. This is my Miller's Falls, and working pretty well, and that's good enough for what I'm doing here. So here are all the parts and pieces. This is the fence with a 45 cut on it so that it won't interfere with the plane going by. This is that little triangular piece that I'm going to have to glue in place and then trim. And this piece will glue into there, and this is the cleat for the bottom, which will go on the underside. Just a piece of white oak, and the hand plane will glide in this channel like so, hopefully giving me a nice, crisp, clean, and somewhat accurate 45-degree bevel. Well, the first piece I have to glue is this triangular piece, and fortunately it has a bow in it where it's curved in the middle away from the camera. So I have a clamp on either end, and I'm able to put a small clamp at an angle to hold this corner snug into the shooting board. And if I do that on each end, I think I'll have reasonable pressure for the glue to set up uninterrupted. So I got a little lucky there. If it was bowed the other way, I'm not sure how I was going to secure this area here. So I'm going to glue this up. I have to let it set, and then I have to carefully shave off the top of this because it's a little too tall. Okay, I have the 2 ends clamped, and I think I'm going to have to hold this in the middle for a minute or so to let the glue tack up. But you guys don't have to sit here and watch glue dry. Well, this piece has had about an hour, so I think it's set up, and I'm actually lucky there's an edge on this. I forgot to mark a perpendicular line to this edge, because that's the most important part of the build. I have a square I can put here, but it rides up on the edge, so that doesn't do me any good, and I don't know for a fact that this edge is parallel to this one, although I suspect it is. But what I can do is take a square like this and put it up against this lip, and I'm pretty confident that that's going to give me a square line. So I'll be able to glue this in place and to be perpendicular. Okay, I knocked away this edge from about here up, so I can put the fence overlapping this piece as it should be. And I still have enough of the lip back here to get the square on it. So I'll be able to glue this piece on nice and square to this line. Once again, I don't want to go too crazy with the glue. Plenty of surface area here. And I don't think the stresses and forces on this particular piece are anything terribly remarkable. That's looking pretty good. Okay, while the fence is setting up, I took the time to try to position this. This is clamped in place but not glued at the moment. I discovered to my dismay the bottom of this piece was not flat. It was kind of cupped, a little wider in the middle than on the edges. And I was afraid it was going to distort the shooting board if I glued it down that way, because this is a piece of oak and it's pretty thick. So what I had to do was remove a little bit of the bottom with a hand plane to tune it to get a little bit closer to flat. And when I did that, it distorted this sloped edge here. It was a little long on the two edges, so I had to plane the face up here and the face down here. And now it's pretty straight and pretty flat. I think it's flat enough to glue in place. I did check this dimension with a square, and looks pretty good. It's not perfect, maybe off by a degree, but when I put this 45-degree block in place, it seems as though this face is 45 degrees from this one. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Well, and here it is. The glue's had a couple hours to set up. I think it's ready to take for a test drive. My number 5 4-square plane seems to be well guided and supported. I do have a piece of cherry here that I cut a while ago. And let's just see. Maybe my cut's a little too heavy. Well, I'm kind of tired. It was a pretty good workout, but that certainly looks clean. It took all the burn marks off. It feels flat and smooth. And I can't guarantee how sharp this iron was, but it was good enough to get her done. So I'm pretty happy with that. Part of the reason I had to build this is my table saw is not great at cutting 45-degree miters, but I'm hoping that this shooting board will help me overcome some of the shortcomings. I don't typically have a great need for great 45-degree miters, but I have found lately that I'm running across this problem a little more often. And if I put this on a square, that's looking pretty good. So, very happy with that. And that's what I got for now. This took me about an afternoon to build, several hours, and I had the base already glued up from a previous experiment. And I hope you enjoyed what we have here. As always, stay safe, take care, and keep your eyes out for the next one.